Good day, everyone, and welcome to the SuperTalk. Excited to be here with you all today. The reason for today's SuperTalk is we've been receiving questions out of my office with regard to the 21-22 school year, and there's a lot of questions that the community has, and we wanted to do our very best to answer those questions. I know that when you look at next fall, one of the things to keep in mind is local health conditions play a big role in our game plan as we move further into that particular school year. Also, there's questions about virtual and remote learning and whether that will continue to be offered. And obviously that depends on the Texas Education Agency. So we're waiting for some guidance from them. But what we did in an attempt to do our very best to be transparent with the community and answer questions is we conducted a thought exchange. And the thought exchange is our way of getting feedback from as many people throughout the community as possible. I wanted to take this opportunity, Jake, to share a short video with regard to what Thought Exchange is all about and how it works and how it's utilized. So at this point, if we could, Jake, let's share our Thought Exchange video with the community.
Meet Thought Exchange, the software platform that allows you to anonymously share and rate ideas around the topics that matter the most to you. Every exchange starts with an open-ended question that your exchange leader will share with you through a unique link. With Thought Exchange, you have the opportunity to offer as much input as you want. Best of all, your responses are confidential, so you can feel free to be as candid as you like. You can also view other people's ideas and rate them. All participants can see which of the group's ideas have risen to the top. And so that you're never left out of the loop, we made sure that you can participate in exchanges from any device, so you can join the discussion wherever and whenever is most convenient for you. Thought Exchange. Join the discussion today and help your leaders make better decisions for tomorrow.
I hope that you enjoyed the video and it shows the power of the Thought Exchange. And Jake, one thing that I did have questions with regard to participation. How many participants did we have in this last Thought Exchange?
We had actually 845 participants, which is a record for us.
What about thoughts?
And out of those 845 participants, 813 thoughts were rated. And as far as ratings, Dr. Gonzalez, we had a total of 16,941 ratings. And those are people that looked at other questions and rated those questions according by stars, 5 being best, 1 being worst, on how they felt about those questions or those thoughts, not those questions, but those thoughts, those concerns.
And that's really the power of the Thought Exchange, is that it takes a question. And our question was, what are some important questions that McAllen ISD should answer regarding the 2021-22 school year? And based on that, all the participants that Jake talked about put their thoughts in with regard to that prompt. And then those thoughts were rated. After those thoughts were rated, we were able to take the ones that rose to the top and really focus on those, because what that pointed out is those are the thoughts that were important to the majority of the community. Then I got with teams of people within the district that pertain to those particular topics, and we answered questions. And I have those questions here, and we want to go through some of them right now just to give you an idea of what the question was and how we were able to answer this particular question. But we did want to give you an opportunity to look at the entire Q&A. So on this Super Talk, there'll be a link that you can click on so that you can go to the entire document. In total, we had 21 questions that rose to the top, and those are the ones that we focused on. We'll cover 3 in this Super Talk just to give you an idea. But I did want to emphasize the fact that when you think about the fall semester, a big part of how we play things out as a district is going to revolve around local health conditions, obviously. And the same is true for every business in the community. And then when you look at virtual instruction, remote instruction, and guidance from TEA, that's specifically what we're waiting for. That's for the Texas Education Agency to give us the guidance that we need as we move further into the end of this school year and the beginning of the 21-22 school year. So Jake, let's go through a couple of questions. What's one question that the community asked?
Well, in regards to safety, because there's different categories that piqued people's interest, and safety is the first one we'll look at. And that is, how will safety guidelines change in the next school year?
And one of the things that we've been doing a great job since the beginning of time in McAllen ISD is just really following safety protocols. We've been in existence for 113 years, But in recent history, we hadn't dealt with a world pandemic. So the way that we've been targeting our current model of making sure that safety guidelines and protocols are followed are second to none. So we will continue following all of the guidelines, and we'll continue doing everything that we can to monitor local conditions and also follow through with CDC guidelines and what TEA is telling us, and looking at state and federal guidelines. And we'll make all the necessary adjustments to maximize health and safety for our students and for our staff and for our community. So to answer the question, it is definitely of the utmost importance. Safety rules, everything for us in McAllen ISD, not only around COVID-19, but just looking at student safety in general in every aspect of it. And whenever you look at a situation where we're dealing with the world pandemic, we've gone the extra mile with regard to safety protocols and cleanliness, and making sure that we're using this antimicrobial agent that we call Gold Shield, that antimicrobial, and it kills viruses. And also just making sure that we're doing everything that we can to follow CDC guidelines. So we will absolutely be following all safety guidelines and all cleanliness protocols in our district.
Our next question comes from the category or the thoughts that circled around method of instruction. And that question is, if TEA allows remote instruction, will students that attend face-to-face be learning through their device or traditional instruction?
And that's one of the things that we're really wanting to get back to, is our traditional face-to-face instruction, where the teacher is no longer having to teach through the device, but really using the device as a tool to extend the learning process, to take students to deeper levels of understanding with the device, but not necessarily teaching through it. So when we come back to instruction with regard to face-to-face, it's going to be more traditional in the fall. We're going to make sure that our teachers are able to use the different methodologies that they used in the past to get students to understand concepts. And if TEA allows us the opportunity to have a remote instruction model, and they haven't yet, but if they do, then we would allow students to learn through the device in that particular arena. But right now, as it is, teachers are having to teach students through the device that are face-to-face with them, and they're also simultaneously working with students that are at home. So we see that changing in the fall, where teachers that are teaching remotely would do just that, if that's given, that option is given by TEA. And teachers that are teaching face-to-face would follow the face-to-face methodologies without having to simultaneously teach students at home.
Our next question is in regards to method of instruction as well. And that is, it's important for my child to have contact with their teachers every day. Will synchronous, asynchronous continue? Will it end?
Well, one of the things to keep in mind, and I'm a parent too, I have a first, second, and third grader. My children are currently learning from school right now, but there was one point in the COVID-19 experience where they were learning from home. So I can empathize with parents with regard to the synchronous and asynchronous. And the way it's laid out now is there's periods of time throughout the day where students are real time with their teachers, and that's the morning session. Once we get to the afternoon session, there's asynchronous time where there's independent work. The way we see things going in the fall is that we're talking about a face-to-face model that's going to be more traditional in nature. But if you do choose, if we are given the opportunity to teach remote, if TEA does give us that guidance and allows us to do so, then you can expect for the day to be synchronous. It would be real time with your teacher, where you're going to be going through an entire schedule. And for instance, if you're an elementary student, it would be 7:50 to 3:30. If you're a middle school student, it would be 8 to 4:05. And if you're a high school student, it would be 8:15 to 4:15. So we're looking at a much longer day, even in a remote environment next year. So that's going to be something that students would definitely have to adjust to, because it takes the asynchronous independent time out of the equation in the fall. So these are 3 questions. And as I mentioned, we have 21 questions that were derived through the thought exchange. We don't want to go through all 21 here, but we do want to give you an opportunity to go to the link that's attached to this SuperTalk so that you can see the Q&A in its entirety and get answers to questions that our community thought were important regarding the 21-22 school year. We hope this information is helpful, and we'll continue doing this, Jake, as we move forward. I know that there's going to be more questions that are going to be coming up across the community, and we want to continue to build on this Q&A. so that our community understands completely what we're facing as a team as we move closer to 21-22. But we're excited about how well we've done as a district, and we're very thankful that our parents and our community and our students have rallied together to get through this. So I hope that this Q&A helps. I know that this thought exchange was a powerful experience for us, and I'm looking forward to more in the future. So thank you all very much. We appreciate y'all.